So welcome to the Mentored Engineer. In this video, we're going to talk about IoT, both in respect to connectivity and to security, because they pretty much go hand in hand. So let's move on to safety and security as we go. So from my background, safety was a very big concern, and I don't know of an industry where it's not. I could see that there are some ways that the IoT, if you have a remote administrator overriding a process, that could be a safety issue. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's definitely a concern, and we hear that from our customers too, especially when they're new to IoT, is safety and security, people getting in and monkeying with their data or their machinery. And obviously we don't want that on that end as well. So we do encrypt our data, and it's also encrypted through the cellular provider. So it'd be very difficult for somebody to get in and mess with that information. I won't ever say that it's impossible, but having that additional cellular encryption versus even the Wi-Fi is just another layer to keep people out of your stuff, really. I've heard of examples, you heard of smart homes, smart TVs, even like washers and dryers. People are familiar with, say, malware, ransomware. People basically get in on your computer, they hack in, get a hold of it and say, hey, we'll give it back to you for a fee. Well, people can do that with IoT devices too, unfortunately. They can get in your washer and dryer, lock it down and say, hey, I'm just doing it just to be mean. People are that way, unfortunately. But luckily, with our devices being the cellular connectivity as our primary product that we sell, you have that even extra layer of encryption that's even that much tougher for somebody to get in and mess with.
Okay. As far as like starting up a machine remotely, where maybe you can't see some hazards or something's jamming the machine, you go ahead and restart it. Is there a way to prevent that? Is that just more instrumentation? Yeah,
absolutely. So I would recommend that as more instrumentation. So you can have a digital control for your machinery just to turn it off or on. But it's always a good idea to have an extra layer of comfort there for you. Something that you can monitor, make sure things are going okay, whether that be an additional sensor or some sort of fail-safe in your system. That way you're not just cranking your machine, sending it whenever there's problems going on.
Okay. So how do you secure a IoT device from cyber attacks?
Yeah, absolutely. So with our device, it's one of those things, it's an ongoing process. It's a marathon, not a sprint. We're always working on ways to continue to improve our security, make things more secure. Our devices are Wi-Fi capable, so it'd be very difficult, but somebody could get in through the Wi-Fi network and connect to the device. But then again, like I mentioned with the cellular, it's that much harder because not only would they have to get in on our device, they'd have to get in through the cellular provider's network and hack through the encryption provided through the cellular connection. So it's even that much harder, that many more layers. But again, it's one of those things that we're still ongoing, still doing, still making it much, much more safe, secure. We've had no concerns with security breaches so far with our devices. They've been in the field for several years, but that doesn't mean we're going to stop. We're going to keep on working and making our devices even more secure than they are today.
So you would say for at least the present time that a Wi-Fi device can be hacked a lot easier than a cellular device?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's my understanding. There are people out there that study this and have a much more in-depth knowledge on susceptibility to harm in those cases than I do. From my understanding, I would say that Wi-Fi is less secure than say cellular. Having said that though, I still feel very comfortable. I would have no problem using our device on a Wi-Fi network to do controls, monitor, things of that nature without much concern.
Okay. Is there ways to limit who has access to what? Like you need certain passwords once you get into the cloud end?
Yeah, absolutely. So we can have our thing set up as, say, a parent-child relationship. Let's say we have a customer of ours that's an integrator that is installs and designs HVA systems for industry that want to monitor remotely. They would have the parent network. So they are able to see all of their customers on their end. They can monitor their stuff, take care of things, make recommendations, whatever they need to do on that side. Whereas the child relationship, that individual customer can only see their information. So we can see everything on our end, but the parent, the integrator, can see all of their customers, whereas the customer can only see their stuff. So that's a neat relationship, kind of limit privileges to people that don't need to see other people's stuff.
Okay. Now earlier we were talking about how you can hack a system without hacking a system, and you gave a great example of a guy with a bunch of cell phones. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's one of those things people are always looking for ways to game the system. There was a gentleman, a story that came out recently, that got something like 100 cell phones, pulled up Google Maps, and had it set up so basically it appeared that it was a vehicle driving down a road. So he has all these phones stacked up in a little wagon stuck at his house, and when you go on the Waze app or Google Maps and look at it, it says that traffic's heavy in this area, don't go this way. So he's basically just doing that to kind of game the system and mess around and get people keep them from driving down this road. I'll give him credit. That's very creative, something I wouldn't have thought of. But again, that's one of our things with IoT. We've always got to be forward thinking, keeping our mind out there for things that come up and be able to adapt whenever situations arise.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just a funny story, but you know, how much is that guy spending in cellular phone bills to keep people off of the street?
Yep, shows the length that people will go to game the system.
All right, especially if it's a busy street and he's got little kids, hey, maybe it's worth doing.
Absolutely.
So we're not saying to do that, but go ahead and do it. All right. Are there any other things about security and safety that come to mind with the IoT?
Yeah, absolutely. So with safety and security, you know, it's one thing that on a daily basis when I'm talking to these customers, I try to put them at ease. Some are concerned, some are not concerned, but really, like I've said, we've had no issues so far with some of our systems, our devices, where people have had security issues. And again, people even like going back to choosing between Wi-Fi and cellular. Sometimes they'll choose cellular because even though they have Wi-Fi access, their provider, their administrator won't allow them to have access to it. So even further, we're not even on their Wi-Fi network, so there's no concern there. And then they'd have to get through the encryption of the cellular. That's just another layer that somebody'd have to go through to get in with the data.
Mm-hmm. Now, in the future, will there be encryption in the device as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I foresee that in the future, having encryption on the device level, so there's even you know, a third or fourth layer of protection, so somebody can't get in and monkey around with it. Again, most of the things we deal with today, it would just cause a headache for somebody. But as IoT advances and we get into, you know, power distribution, things that are much more susceptible to harm, we definitely don't want people to be able to go in and mess with those type things.
All right. Well, thank you for watching this episode of The Mentored Engineer, and please join us again in the future. Thank you. Thanks for watching this video. Please visit us at www.mentoredengineer.com and do a search for calculators. We have some phenomenal state-of-the-art calculators. Our team has worked so hard and we are so proud of these calculators. We have calculators for hydraulics, including pumps, motors, cylinders, and hoses. We have different pin calculators, and we have the ultimate beam calculator. So please go there, check it out, and sign up for your free 30-day trial.